Friends of our channel and YouTubers, welcome. Answers of an Alien from Andromeda, Video 120, August 10, 2014. The questions are directed to represent the largest number of doubts sent by the time of the meeting. Mythi, what and who are the archons, mentioned in ancient scriptures as influencers in our society today? Archons was an old term for identifying aliens, those who are not of the earth. In the time of the great Egyptian civilization, all references to ancient civilizations like Lemuria, Vedas and Atlantis, referred to the archons, as they interfered with the progress of these civilizations. As there was no way to get in touch with these archons, some groups were formed to diagnose this influence and try to understand its meaning. These groups referred themselves as the Gnostics, or those who wanted to diagnose, to identify, to know. Those groups who could not get through races that were here cultivating their colonies, such as Pleiadians, Arcturians, Atunians, Alcaides, Atuns among others, they sought and found other colonies that were under the dominion of the Reptilians and Grey's allies, who were only concerned about destabilizing the humanoids on the planet to derail the development. These were actually called archons, only generically all extraterrestrial was included at the time on the same designation. When Christianity was adopted by your kings as a means of controlling the masses, based on novels left by the Vedas and Lemurian about the solar system and its influence, all other groups were persecuted and their references taken from the new philosophy adopted. What I can tell you is that there is no archon race, but a reference to anything that is not human on planet Earth. The Reptilians and their allies, Greys, of a specific race of Greys who live thousands of years with them in a kind of existential symbiosis. To make that clear, continued sense that time giving support to certain groups that you generalize with the acronym PTB, which included the descendants of Atuns' long skulls, as their direct dependents to survive. The truly responsible for the degradation of social values is the such PTB, under the guidance of their mentors, officially adopted and obeyed since those ancient times. Those who can become aware of the social ideals for a better life for all, regardless of color, creed or economic status, despite being surrounded by these negative influences, these will be those who will continue to the next generation, will be the future of planet Earth. Answering many questions about the possibility of interference in epidemics, I'll explain. Your PTB tried in various ways to start the completion of their agenda, but we interfere so as to leave no room for it, as facts that are already known of those who follow our conversations. Hardly a war would spread worldwide and does not directly involve the population that is the real target of schedule, so the only and final chance would be in false epidemic event to give the chance to take military measures against the population, in the name of pseudo-well-being of that population. See, if they forge widespread pandemic, anyone with a simple cold or fever would invariably be confined without the right to react against the system. All who were part of the same family or a group of work would also be taken to test and quarantine, namely allowing a full dominion of the populations without further questioning. In the case of an official announcement of a pandemic, avoid taking medicines given or made by your governments, avoid being taken to hospital with suspected symptoms, try to treat it anonymously with a friend or family doctor, keep your body's pH slightly basic and consume fruits with vitamin C in nature. This epidemic does not exist, but the advertising will make it come to pass, and they can inoculate you with what they want in pseudo-screening stations. We cannot abduct psychopaths or your PTB, as some request. They will be removed by themselves, we cannot interfere in your military affairs. What we can do is to avoid the use of weapons of mass destruction and record everything that is happening to the populations and changes on the planet. Everything that is happening socially was the aftermath of the acts practiced or ignored by your previous generations, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-grandparents. Unfortunately, you are paying the price, but be sure that these mistakes will not continue when the Level 1 have finally the command of the planet. About the unexplained holes that have been found in coastal areas and inland areas, are actually objects being removed by anti-gravity traction with craft service Arcturians. You may notice the vertical lines left on the walls of the newly formed holes. No trace of explosion or impact of any kind will be found because it does not happen. Dozens of these old stations of defense are being removed because they are becoming unstable over the years. Signs of spontaneous activation were detected in some of them, and all will be withdrawn as a precaution. These ancient artifacts are over 14,000 to 30,000 years old, used to defend areas where there were humanoids colonies, against some invading warlike races. There were many battles since 400 million years ago to protect the developing colonies when this planet was a hunting open area. Many hundreds of civilizations have been developed here, and only now the planet will gain its independence as a race. Your sun has entered another frequency, was stabilized by specialized ships, and after this process has spent time in a state of lethargy during this stabilization. Now it will manifest itself again and cause some chain reactions for the readjustment of the rest of the system. That does not mean catastrophe, means fine-tuning of the solar system as a whole. The solar system will be vibrating soon, all in the same frequency range. As many of you may be feeling in your own skin, the climate is increasingly changed. The geomagnetic protection of your planet is weakening very quickly, like a sine wave that will pass through zero to start the opposite cycle, so be prepared for the changes that will happen next. Your PTB at this time will not wait for natural changes to implement their agenda, so be alert. I hope you have the patience and strength to go through these changes problems, with altruism and taking conscientious decisions. I'll let you know everything I come to know about the upcoming changes.